All right, we'll get things going. Welcome to the Parks and Cemetery Committee for March 8th, 2024. Present today are Public Works Director Troy Kruger, City Attorney Paul Jensen, Councilman Schramm and Councilman Schuyler, along with Parks and Cemetery Supervisor Marty Peterson, along with several representatives from different organizations that we will see a lot of this summer. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Troy to start this meeting and guide us through your agenda, sir.
I'm just going to we'll turn it over for questions real quick, but a few updates on things that are going on. We're putting a new flex face on the scoreboard for the big field. Marty's doing a bunch of work down at the softball complex. He's putting up a new crow's nest for one of the fields. We got the concrete tore out around the bathrooms. We're going to redo that. That was starting to become a problem. The concrete was cracking and it was heaving, and so it was a trip hazard. So he's working on that. We have some new equipment this year for grooming the softball fields and the baseball fields, so we're excited about that. We think it's going to really make the fields a lot better than they have been in the past. It drags, it levels, it crunches up all the ag so you don't have any clumps or anything like that. So super excited. I think it's going to be a big deal. We got the lights in our possession for the big baseball field, and I've got a lift coming next week, weather permitting, and we'll get those lights switched out. Am I missing anything? I guess, you got plans for the little McDonald's field. We got to cut the sod out of there,
Yeah.
make the baselines.
As soon as that sod's viable to live at the cemetery, we'll cut her out and get it ready.
So that
Should take us more than a couple days to have that playable.
So that little baseball field will be ready to go this year. Concession stand for Leahy Bowl was, the state sent a letter to us, and so we had to add an additional, in all of any concession stands that are gonna have food prep in them, or making food, we gotta have a separate hand wash sink, and then also a drying rack for the dishes. So we've done that up at Leahy Bowl already, so that's ready to go for baseball. I think that's it, but I wanted everyone to come here today so we can, if anyone has any issues, we can get them addressed right now instead of when the season starts. I guess if you just open it up, and if you guys want to start, if we want to start with softball, because that starts next week, I believe, practices.
Yes, it does.
You guys, so if you have any questions or concerns, or
Just checking the rules and things like that. I've already been in contact with Marty about, they do recommend breakaway bases for second and third. Not required, but recommended. Marty and I had already kind of discussed that the breakaway bases sit up a little higher and whatever, so he said he would do his darndest to get them level enough to try not to have any injuries or whatever. I mean, breakaway bases they're gonna break away or they're not. It's how you hit them. I mean, that's just how it is. So Marty and I have already discussed that. He's already taken care of that. Prior to that, I guess we had discussed the crow's nest type thing, and you said that's being taken care of.
working on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. I know last year, I guess just, I was not the coach last year, but from a fan perspective, I appreciate the Winter Warriors Live or whatever helping our athletics. And I would like to see them have a place somewhat different than what happened last year, so I don't know, if that's part of Crow's Nest or if that's part of school, or I don't know how to, I just think it needs to be.
We have electricity. I mean, the other two, we have electricity in them and everything,
Yeah.
so.
But they're in an odd spot.
they were behind
The
the
crow's nest.
bleachers and behind the whatever, so I mean, it was kind of difficult, but that was just something that I would like to see for our program, have whether a place or a something that they would be more apt to see more of that. And then, I believe last year they brought a PA system down for announcing, is that correct?
Yeah, Gerald Whitty had one that they used.
Through the school, and then they just set it up, use the
Yeah,
speaker. And
it's a
then that was
portable
it.
one, but we'll have I can get a speaker put back on the crow's nest and stuff.
Yeah, I just-
We have a PA system
So
we use for the little fields, so,
those other two fields, do we need to move those boxes? Do we need to move those?
no.
Or just put something else up?
No, they're fine. They'll play club ball or school ball on the little field, and it'll be set up good.
Oh, that reminds me. Does everyone have their insurance stuff turned in? We'll have to get, I mean, that's kind of Shanner's department, but she's not here today, so, it would be your,
I know we brought it up at our board meeting last night, and Kelly's following up on it. He thought ours was still in effect from last year, because it was a year to year.
Okay.
It wasn't up yet, but we know we need to have it. It's the same, yeah, for our medical and liability with the players as well as with you guys. So it's all one policy, and Kelly Minor, so if you don't have it, he's the guy to
oh,
follow.
we'll want to make sure that we get that. I'm guessing you guys are gonna start requesting, if the weather holds, you're gonna start requesting practices pretty soon, and, but yeah, we gotta have that insurance information up in the front office, supposed to have it before you use the field, so.
Is that something that Mr. Gardner needs to get in touch with you guys as far as school insurance, or is that something already taken care of?
I'm not super familiar with how the insurance works.
Yeah, I'd have to check with Chandra to see how that was handled last year.
Okay.
Typically speaking, if you're an official school function, then the schools covers you.
Right, I'm just saying is if Mr. Gardner has contacted or taken care of that yet.
Yeah, I don't know, and she'll be back. I apologize. She's gone this week, and I didn't visit with her about that at all.
Okay,
Yeah, I've actually got ours from last year here. I guess it does go to June, so it's probably our renewal, so I don't need it anymore if he doesn't want it.
Okay, good.
Covers it.
What field do you, so it was asked what field girls softball will play on?
Bailey, the small one.
The small field, the
Yeah.
softball field.
Yeah. And if we put that crow's nest behind that little set of bleachers on third base, would be a great view.
Wherever you put it, son.
Because you know where it was before, down there behind first base, sitting at an angle, and it was,
Yeah. Last year, the problem was just they wanted to put the scoreboard and the PA announcer in there.
Yeah.
We just chose to go to that site back behind the canopy. If something to be worked out, we'll work it out.
but
You happen to know the guy that demanded to be in the box as the PA announcer, you might know it.
He
You
sit
can
in
work
the
it out
dugout.
with him.
He can sit in the dugout.
well, and on that little field, it's a remote control for the scoreboard, so somebody can sit in the
Sit in the
stands.
bleachers. Yeah. Yeah. We'll get it figured out, States. We'll be there.
Are there PA speakers on all three fields out there? Just,
No, there's just one speaker on Bailey.
are there any laying around?
No.
Extra ones? No?
We only have one PA system to move between the fields.
That's the one that's at McDonald's, you have to do that
That's
one.
one we use there.
So, the state has contacted us about an opportunity to have Ware host. They're starting something new under the USA softball they want to create an 8U state softball tournament, and they have contacted us and asked if we would host it. So it kind of sounds like they'll split the state in half, like we would host the west side and maybe, what did you tell me, Buxton?
Well, they'd have like 4 or 5, it'd be like Sturgis, Winter, Madison, Yankton, kind of like regional division state tournaments for 8 and under.
So that being said, it could be, what would you tell me, 16 teams?
And they would like to see anywhere from 12 to 16 team tournament in one day. They think, the guy thinks that it would be fine. The state would bring down the workers for the gate. And they'd like to use our umpires if they're registered, and they would pay very well. Winner would be responsible for just groundskeeping, which I have visited with Marty about. And has there been concession stands, anybody bid for concession stands at Bailey Park?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can do concession stands for whatever.
yeah. I
Did we
had
put
talked
up-
to Nell Scholmer, but she wasn't sure if that had been
Oh,
discussed
Have we
yet.
put out the bids?
Yeah.
We did a bid letting.
haven't yet. I don't think we have yet. I don't think it's went out yet.
I don't think we did it for 2024.
We talked about it, I just.
I don't
know
think
if
we did,
Okay.
Mr.
No.
Yep. In 2023, in fact, we did get bidders, and we went out and sought an
Solicitor.
operator.
Yeah.
And we have not bid yet for 2024.
Yeah, I guess I heard just word of mouth. Nothing's been bid out yet, but I guess I heard that Val was interested in doing it again, but like I said,
Val, who?
No, Nell.
or Nell Schmoller, Nell.
Okay.
She is, but
Yeah.
we have to go out for bids on
If I
that.
understand though, some of our concession bids were a 2-year deal, is that not correct?
The big,
I think
Leahy Bowl.
Leahy Bowl was a 2-year deal.
I believe that's
And
right.
if one's gonna be 2, I think they all ought to be, so that we don't have the confusion of, do we or do we not have a concession stand at the, whatever ballpark it is. We should
in
consider.
the past, on the other ball fields, is no one's wanted to do it 2 years in a row.
Okay.
The first year.
We tried to do
So
it,
maybe they should all be 1 year, that's my point.
well, we tried to do it for 2 years one year, and then they didn't want it the next year.
Last year, I think we tried to inappropriately open a bid for Leahy Bowl, but it was a 2-year.
It was,
bid.
that's my point.
I think it is up this year, so if the Baseball Association, I'll double check.
They're good for this year.
We were thinking we had one more year.
Yeah, they have-
We're good.
I
It's
think
a
you've had it
3-year
for
deal,
this
you
year.
That was a 2 or 3, I don't know.
Okay,
It
because
was
last
two.
year, you showed us a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
guess
I
our-
think that's right.
Kelly thought we had.
No,
this year.
I know you guys are good. You're covered for 2024.
Next year
Yeah.
will be.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Janikowskis has it again.
She's gonna do it for us, I mean, we put the bid in, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, all the ballparks ought to be the same length of contract, so we don't have that confusion that we had. Because last year, we took bids when it was actually the Baseball Association's contract already. And that's where we need to either keep better records or have them all be the same, so that we don't get into that.
Well, that is what happened, is we tried to go out for 2-year bids on it here about like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah,
And then we couldn't get anybody to bid on it because nobody wanted the little concession stands for more than a year at a time. So we've just been doing that one annually.
okay.
Can you guys check though and make sure ours is?
I will double check.
It is, I know it is. Shandra and I talked about it. We've talked about going out for bids with them already, but we just haven't got a bid out yet. But you guys are covered for this year.
What are the dates on that AU softball tournament?
That's something that we need to discuss.
Okay,
Because it falls on the same weekend as traditionally what the rookie tournament is. So, and I don't know if we can play a 16 bracket tournament potentially on one field. It might take 2 or 3.
Does having grass infield at McDonald's, does that eliminate that for girls, for softball?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Traditionally, they play on dirt.
Yes, it
But-
does.
That's all I've ever seen anywhere I've gone, but I have never seen a grass softball field.
No, I haven't either, but
But the turf fields are colored to look like a grass infield, yep. So I have no idea what the rules are.
But if you can do it at girls in one day, that'd be easy, because they could use it on Saturday. And
And Gary does think that, just pending weather, of course, that we should be able to get it done in one day. Start
Does the-
Because they're fast
Does the
games, they're
state
less-
limit Sunday play?
When's that rookies tournament?
Does the
June, like,
state have a rule
22nd?
against Sunday play?
No, I don't think
I
so.
don't
He's
think
the
so.
one that proposed the weekend,
Okay,
so.
Well, then that state tournament.
because I know you can't play a basketball game in high school on a Sunday.
So,
Summer ball.
so I am high school ball with the school, they are Rosebud, it's summer
Okay.
league stuff.
I understand the club side of it can play any day they
Okay.
want,
So that's the
but
difference. is
I'm wondering
that's how I
about,
do
so
that.
your tournament you're talking about is not high school?
No,
Okay.
8-year-old girls.
Okay, that's why I was wondering, yep.
So what
Which
is,
might
is
be
it,
entertaining or frustrating.
when is that tournament? June?
June 23rd is what.
23rd?
Sunday, yeah.
And the city would be responsible for the workers?
Groundskeeping, yeah.
Yep.
Which fits our policies.
That would probably also be
Because
your
of the
Father's
state
Day
tournament?
tournament up at Leahy Bowl,
16-man bracket.
if that's the Father's Day
That's a
weekend.
lot of people.
It's
They're 50-minute games.
it's a
It's
16U
the one
last
after,
year.
but it is, we are having a tournament that weekend, that'll be our 16U tournament.
Because that was a weekend it rained last year, we backed both of them up 2 hours, remember that?
Yeah, that could be an issue again too.
Yeah.
Sucked a lot of water that morning.
Same as the Father's Day tournament also, 23rd, or the 16U.
16.
Father's Day, the 14U is Father's Day weekend, which would be the 15th, or, yeah, the 15th.
That'd be a busy weekend.
And then the 16U tournament is the 23rd weekend. And we are-
If the Little League schedule falls in line.
Yeah, if the rookies.
Just a thought to throw out there, just however we could maybe work it out is we could possibly utilize some of the high school girls to help with the groundskeeping if the city want to compensate somehow or whatever. Maybe
We have summer
We
help.
got summer home.
Oh, there you go.
They'll be here by then.
And then-
There you
So
go.
when you redo the sidewalk around the concession stands at the West Park, will you excavate that 4 feet deep and refill it with black sand, or what's your plan? To prevent the concrete from coming up again?
Oh, we're not gonna go 4 feet deep. We're just gonna,
We just packed some gravel in there, that was there, and
Okay.
I pinned it to the other concrete with rebar and stuff.
I think you should check with your engineer, because if you don't go below frost, it's just gonna heave on you again.
well, the reason it would heave this time is it wasn't sealed up between the building and the building and so the moisture was getting in there. And when it froze, it just popped it. And then we got a tree right there. Did you
Yeah.
find any roots under there?
No roots.
Yeah, I don't want to compromise the integrity of the building by digging 4 feet down alongside of it. And, you know, you could have you go 4 foot deep along the whole side of one building, that whole building could do this on you. I mean, that's a pretty deep hole.
Yep.
The problem was where they added the concrete to make it, so they had a 2-foot sidewalk originally. And then they just added a foot, must be to make it ADA years ago. And that's where they pinned it there, that's what's settled, so.
They probably just didn't get it compacted well enough. So. So that's,
Well, I think it'd be well worth the money to get the engineer involved and make sure we do it right once instead of have to do it 3 years from now.
I'll look into it.
In my experience with laying concrete and building parking lots. So,
I'll look into it. Any other girls softball stuff?
We're gonna have a meeting the 12th, a league meeting for us, and set a date, a specific date. But we'd like to do fundamentals with the little girls this year. Last year, we made a really concentrated effort to get an actual board put together for our leagues for all of the community, which was cumbersome to get all of those people organized. But I feel like we accomplished that last year. So this year, we're back to being able to focus on our little girls. So we need facilities. Last year, like I said, we skipped, but we tentatively lined up some places, but my comfort zone, I I didn't even consider the middle school gym here because it was so accessible to the public at that point. And I don't feel safe having 60 little girls running around and some of them go to the bathroom and not having control over who else is in the building. But I feel like now that you've went to the key card system, it's a lot more controlled and a little safer to maybe host that here. But I want to ask if that's something that you're comfortable with us doing. It's, depending on how many sign up, it's either 1 or 2 nights a week. Because if there's 60 of them, it's very difficult to manage that many little girls. So we might have to split it into 2 nights, but is that something that you would be okay with us doing here?
Yeah. You just need to schedule through the finance office, but like we allow practices to be held for the golf team. I know the baseball team is, club baseball team is talking about securing the facility for some evening events. It's just a matter of scheduling through the finance office, Mark.
So is there cost associated with that now? Because initially there used to be a cost, and we don't charge to do this, so there's no money available to
Right.
pay for it.
I don't know that off the top of my head. I know for the high school sports, there's not the club sports. I don't believe there is, but we've adopted a policy for the city of Winter where if we bill you out and you'd like to bring that back to committee, the committee has the right to waive those fees. And with recommendation, it would go to full council. I'm guessing, I think I know the direction council would go, but on something for the youth in the community. Go ahead, Brad.
I have nothing. I'm just trying to hear.
I'm sorry.
But that's kind of the policy. And I don't know that there's a fee attached, off the top of my head, because I know club baseball is in there, so.
And I don't think that we would be requesting to have this space exclusively. I mean, I guess if that's an option, that'd be super. But I also understand that if somebody else is in there needing to play pickleball, that's great, but whatever, you know, it would be, and it's not a long amount of time. What did we do, 6 weeks maybe?
2 nights a
And
week.
that's dependent on weather.
It is, I mean, as soon
Yeah.
as it's nice enough to go outside, we'll go outside. And then we'll also, once we figure out how many of these kids are gonna wanna do fundamentals, we'll make sure that our insurance covers that also. I haven't learned about the insurance part because I didn't want that job. But I know people that don't, so we'll figure it out. So if you're cool with us having it here, that's awesome, because the plan Bs are, they'll work.
You did say at night, right?
Yeah, it'd be.
Yeah, we have a couple offices down there on that end that 60 girls having a lot of fun going through fundamentals.
Well, yeah, we all work, none of us can start until
Right.
after, yeah, I think I want to say it was like 6:30, 7 o'clock when we started. It's like an hour and a half and then we're out. So keep their attention any longer than that's about impossible.
I'm trying to get an answer before you guys leave, for sure.
So is that something with the school also that Mr. Gardner has to schedule if we were needing a place to practice?
Yeah.
I visited with Mr. Aker because I thought maybe we could use the Aux gym or whatever, but he said middle school and high school track go up there if needed in the armory and whatever. So I don't know, I'm a firm believer play outside because that's what we have to play in for conditions, but if for some odd reason we would need an indoor space, is that available to high school?
Yeah, the basketball practice here, volleyball practice here, the
Okay.
golf practice here, all the high schools. If
So
they,
schedule through Mr. Gardner possibly.
yeah,
And then
I mean, I think
okay.
you have to schedule it through the finance office here, but she closes the
Okay.
gym for 2 hours and then you guys get a practice, so.
Okay.
What do you got, John?
Oh, just a couple of things on the field stuff. A couple of these I know we talked about before. Backstop net, did you guys, is this getting replaced?
I didn't budget for one this year.
Still the old one, just I guess.
So in there, we'll patch up the holes.
Patch the
We
holes.
got 1,000 foot of string cord for that, so.
That's, yeah, that was one of the things. It was
Yeah.
getting bad.
Yeah, down there on the bottom, it's ripping against some
A lot of
staples.
holes, yeah. And then that first base dugout, if we could get a flip latch on that, like the one over on the home
Oh,
dugout.
yes.
That chain,
Yeah, I'll do that. Every time I walk through it, I think of that, and then
yeah, that thing's
Forget-
always coming open with that chain.
I got a chain on there now,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll find one.
Did you replace that screen behind the bullpen, that chain link? I know that was gone for a while.
Yeah, it was up last year,
They've got it,
early.
Okay. That was over in that area too.
Yeah.
And then from the umps, painting the foul ball lines, if we could, and again, Richie said if he needed help,
Oh,
if
okay.
AC could maybe help with that, but getting those painted like before we start the season and then probably before the tournaments,
Yeah,
weekends. and-
we try to, but yeah,
That's something to try to get a good paint line
Yeah.
out there so they can see.
we'll get it established early.
Every, 3 or 4 weeks is probably enough.
It's probably about every week, really, but
Is it?
yeah.
Okay. And then the only other one was maybe getting a little more agar lime up for the batting cage up on the hill.
Yeah, I talked to Shane about that. We got some old used stuff that'll work up there, won't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I always used to go up and kind of clean that up and grade it, get it sloped in the spring, but I haven't for about 5 years, and I don't know if anybody else, but even if you just got it up, a small bucket load or something, get it in the back middle, and then they let me know on baseball folks.
Okay, get it in the cage.
Get it in the cage, and then we can probably
Okay.
get it cleaned up if we need to, so.
Okay, we can do that.
Because it used to drain out to the sides, and I don't know if it's draining very well anymore.
Okay,
My understanding, there's a lot of rocks and junk get up in there. I haven't personally cleaned it out the last few years, so
yeah, we'll get some up there.
okay.
That was about all we had.
Quick answer. High school has first priority over anything. If you guys need to schedule an event, you just need to do that through Gardner, and then he sends an email, which will block that out for you. I was correct. You can schedule any events for training in there. There would be a fee that would be, or an invoice sent to your organization for the use, but it would block it out if you wanted exclusively. That's the only time there's a fee. If you don't mind going with the public, we drop the net in the center. There's no fee to be in there. It's just if you have a card, you can get all the girls in. Council has full right to waive any fees that are assessed in the city of Winter. So in that case, and I'll let you visit with the representatives of the park committee. If you schedule, if they approve sending it to full council waiving the fees, it has to be voted on by the full council, but my guess is they would waive those fees.
Do you know what the fee is?
I don't off the top of my head. I can ask.
More money than you have, according to what I've heard so far.
I wouldn't worry about it, Marty, come to us.
I was going worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
It's good to
Am
know.
I gonna have to get a second job or get a seventh job?
Hey, they said they'd waive it. Now the fee is $1,000 an hour. Whoa.
Hey, oh, back up.
Maybe you can work it off and sweep the floor after the,
John,
No,
Good idea. What do we have that needs painted?
John, I'm curious, just because I'm aware of this, sounds like Winter has a second amateur baseball team.
Yeah, that was a big discussion last night. It's not for sure yet, but I mean, we're okay with it or on board if they want, and donating some money for some, helping them out a little bit, but they've got a meeting with the Pony Hills, I think, in March or 22nd, 23rd March.
So out of curiosity, you've handled the scheduling for the Sunshine there, and there could become, at some point, a conflict with them trying to schedule and you trying to schedule. Can you tell us how tell us how the Baseball Association chooses, because we've never been involved in the scheduling, and I can foresee them coming and saying, so however that's handled with the Baseball Association and the scheduling for those games, if
Yeah.
doubleheaders, and let us know.
Had that conversation. Bryce Bonnet and Adja Klein are the two that are kind of organizing. It's my understanding they have enough players, but there's a lot of the other organizational stuff that hasn't transpired yet, like the Pony Hills League and all that. So,
Right.
But our understanding, and they were okay with it, was the Sunshine League schedule, because it's already out, or it's just coming out. I've got it, it hasn't been sent to you guys yet, but it would have priority, and then they're gonna have to kind of work around it with the Sundays and Thursdays that are open, or doubleheaders and different days. The Sunday stuff is probably more likely could be a doubleheader if they have a full schedule,
Okay,
but the Thursday's not, so it's, and they were okay with that.
Okay.
It'd be difficult, but it still has to. I've got a schedule already done, except for them, so for the most part.
well, I know
It'll
you,
be with your schedule, though.
Right.
Okay.
They won't
I don't
schedule
wanna
over the
hunt
teener.
down another person.
No.
Okay,
it's
good.
still- That's, yeah.
it'll be consistent with amateur baseball nights in the Sunshine League. They would stick to those dates.
Well, that's what the Pony Hills has done traditionally, their Sundays and Thursdays too, but besides the field issue, it's a problem finding homes too, so. if we
Oh,
have another
sure.
team in the area, so I don't know, they may have to find some alternate dates, not only for the field, but for them, so. But it looks like it might happen, so.
Okay. Something that's never happened in winter before, is it?
Oh, I think they've had 2 teams.
2 amateur
They had
teams?
the
It
old
was
stuff.
called
The,
Clearfield.
oh yeah, the old, well, no, yeah. The old timers, that one year, it was the amateurs and then the 40 and
Bob
over.
Oldenburg had an old timers team, that's correct.
Yeah,
But he made his schedule completely around the winter amateurs.
yeah.
Yep. He went completely through the winter amateurs.
Okay.
Yep.
There'll have to be some sequencing of it. Typically, this, I do some of the summer and then coordinate with Todd Strand's doing the Sunshine League now. I think he's out of Barton or somewhere, doing their league schedule, and we coordinate back and forth on which dates. So that part's done, and then what's left, or they're gonna have to kind of work around from there. But I'll have a master schedule like I have in the past, that will eventually come to you if this, all happens with this new amateur team.
I would assume that Sunshine League schedule is probably already done.
It's, yeah.
Posters are already made.
No, they're not out yet. I just got an email yesterday.
Okay.
So they're just working on it this week. I expect by next week or so it might be. But typically, they send it out to the coach, managers first, and then they have about a week to make some changes if they need
Yep.
to before they do any printed stuff, so. But it's close to being done.
So will this, and I know it's just in talk right now, but if I understand, this other team it's called Winter will be in a different league?
They're petitioning to go into the Pony Hills League like the Gregory County team in Cologne. And our hope is it doesn't kill the Cologne team, so,
Yeah.
there's some overlap there. And so right now, it sounded like Cologne was still gonna have a team, but then when they all, who's playing where. And
Well, there's a lot of those 20-year-old guys that still want to play.
yeah, there is.
Yep.
Sounds like a busy ball season.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of busy, are we still scheduling on the Cozy app
That's you guys,
for practices?
for
and
practice
stuff?
and stuff, yeah.
That's.
And if you
that's
pick
on
up
us.
a game that's happened in the past, and I just happened to stumble across it on a Cozy app, like when those travel ball teams, if it's not on a schedule, let me know. You know what I mean, a pickup game. 'Cause-
I don't know why you think you need to know.
Somebody will let Rusty know. But
wonder
I
if it-
just stumbled across one a couple years ago. I was like, oh boy, okay.
I just thought of this too. A couple years ago, we hosted the 14U league tournament here, and it got, it was a tight game. We're down to the wire. It's a tie ball game, and it's like.
The lights went out?
10:55.
No, quarter to 11.
I was like, oh boy. 'Cause
I'm hoping no
there was some
extra
very
innings.
animated coaches there, and it had been exciting. And I'm like, oh Jesus, please do something amazing, because if these lights go off, we're gonna have a riot. Can we, this is like 99.9% of the time, not an issue. But that night, I was never so glad to see somebody walk and have a run score because it was over. I'm like, all right, pictures, fast, let's go, because
Those are still on
the lights are gonna
on the
go off.
handheld deals.
And they did.
But they're on a timer.
Yeah,
Can
but
we get an override
You can shut the
switch
timer off during the
in
game.
the
I don't know how
small,
to do
it's
Yeah,
hard
you can
to
shut the
get,
timer off.
but when
They
it-
automatically go off at a certain time.
that.
Yes.
11.
you know,
I believe former councilman.
That's like
Sherman has not
Valentine,
left them
Nebraska.
shredding in her bedroom windows.
they go off.
Along with several of our neighbors.
And I get it, I really do, I get it, but like, on the one time, and we don't have to advertise that that's there, it's like,
You can, yeah, we can override the timer.
okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of the similar thing with the sprinkler system at Leahy. that we-
Yeah, I changed the times
Is
on
there an
that.
override on that or plan B? Because we should, you know,
Yeah, we set it later in the night, midnight now.
well, that's.
So we have that curfew at Leahy Bowl too?
no.
Sprinklers have come on during the game.
Sprinklers, water,
Okay.
water.
11 o'clock.
We've
Lady
had
Bo-
some
Lady-
entertaining
Yeah,
games.
We gotta
Lady-
get better umpires, get the game done quicker, call more strikes.
But midnight hasn't even covered it with the sprinklers a couple times.
No, I don't remember that one. I just remember that one a couple years ago with Demick,
Find
whoever
if
that
there's
was.
an override there too, or if there's some way we can.
Yeah, you
Run
just,
out and shut them off.
Run out, shut them off.
there's a master switch on there, you just shut it off, it shuts off the whole sprinkler system.
But you still gotta run out to the
To
house.
the shed, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep. For an old fat guy, that's a long run.
Well,
But we always had the left field come on first, cause who cares if the left fielder gets a little wet?
Well, these are behind the plate though.
Yeah,
and I
It's
think,
happened a couple times where we've had these rainouts make up and we're playing at midnight or after, so.
Especially with two teams playing now. It can get late.
So I better, try to
Your
get with
fees,
you and show me where that's at sometime,
Okay.
along with a few of the other, coaches, so they know that. so we don't-
I'll give one.
isn't there a disconnect out on the outside of the shed?
No.
Oh, so you have to have a key to
Yeah.
get in and.
Turn the clock off.
Okay,
the easiest thing to do is just unplug it.
yeah, we used to have a disconnect on the outside of the shed,
Oh, now it's gone.
yeah.
this is for Council and Marty. The gym can be rented for half days and full days. A half day is $75. There needs to be a $75 deposit placed that stays for the entirety of your season. That will be refunded, but it's $75 for a half day, and there is no hourly rate. We'll bring that up in front of council, finance committee in 2 weeks to see if they would consider an hourly rate. They would not prior. But if you used it, 6 times, what are you looking at?
But
400?
that gives you exclusive use of the entire gym.
Correct.
You don't have to share it with
No.
anybody else, yep.
That is correct.
And to be real honest, that would make me feel a little better.
Safer.
Well, I mean, what if it's your 8-year-old and you don't know who else is? I don't know where the liability falls in that, you know? That's fuzzy to me. I mean, is that a city issue? Is that a softball issue? And, I mean, I don't know.
I'd rather you have it yourself. I think you could come to council if you had a dozen practices, it's $900, and they'd probably waive all of that, just to put the kids in there. I
Yep.
can't speak for them, but I'm just guessing.
That would be my consensus.
There is a form that would need to be filled out that you just need to get from the finance office if you do it. That goes along with your deposit. The calendar is on our website, and you can reserve the nights off that calendar once you have the deposit
The
paid.
deposit is for, it's a one-time $75 deposit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, because, like I said, I don't know until we have these little girls sign up how many there will be, whether it's gonna wind up being a once a week or twice a week.
Sure.
And like I said, as soon as it's warm out, we'll go outside.
Right.
So, and I hate to reserve it and then not have people be able to use it, but, I mean, is that a live calendar? I
It
mean,
is.
If it's nice out today, we can take ourselves off and,
It's a live calendar that you just book online at the website now, at wintersd.org.
okay. Thank you.
One other thing I forgot, the hose for watering the field in the summer, are you getting another?
I should get a longer one, shouldn't I, or another one?
And a reel.
I got a reel.
You got that, last year? Yeah,
got
we need
that.
a- we need a
We need
bigger-
longer hose. Thanks for reminding me of that. I'll look today.
That was brought up last night,
Yeah.
I forgot that earlier.
I think I promised somebody last year that we'd get it
Yeah.
done.
I found them on Granger.
Still
Yeah.
gonna have the hookup where it always is
Yep.
though, just.
We actually did buy a hose. We did buy that hose, and it was that cloth one, and it wasn't what we thought we were getting.
Yeah, we just need a little 1-inch fire hose and
Yeah.
whatever that one is. It's the ends are weird, for a fire hose.
I don't know the gentleman in the back.
Tyler Foster.
Okay, you got anything?
Yeah, Winter Little League Baseball. I guess this year, just excited to get the two fields back and see what improvements were made. You guys already talked about the concession stand. The only thing I could see from last year, remember, was we played on the softball complex, at night, and it seemed like the field to the north might want to trim some trees so you can see.
Yeah.
It's kind of dangerous with
Thank
the
you.
lighting and stuff.
Well, I said that every time I seen that tree's gotta come down, shadow over home plate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you're right about that. And one other thing, Little League and girls softball, we should meet at the field. We'll go over lights, scoreboards,
that would be nice.
the AED, where, where to put stuff back at the end of the night, and just a facilities training kind of thing.
Maybe in 4 weeks or something.
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, after we get.
Yeah, after we get
figured out.
going and-
Yep.
We should get, I don't know, maybe you have one. I don't have one, but I know a guy to get the key to open the supply closet.
Well, see, that's the thing too. Yeah, what keys do we need out there and stuff?
Right.
Yeah.
That if we were to hand out equipment to umpires and stuff,
Your batting cage.
Batting cage is up, functional out there.
And that's a net.
It's a net.
Okay.
It's a nice one.
And the same pitching machines in the.
There's the pitching machine's in there, the softball one, you can repair that.
yeah, softball one's in my garage right now, and I gotta order parts. I don't honestly know who owns that.
I always heard it was donated.
Claim it.
Yeah, that's why they're buying the parts for it. Get
I heard it was
a
donated.
What? I missed what
pitching machines out there.
Pitching machines for the softball fields, there's an actual.
They're not ours. They're not
Softball
the
pitching.
city's.
Actually, I think the Little League bought those years ago, and they are owned by the Little League. Shane Phillips bought them. They,
Is there just one?
There's a blue one for baseball, it's a jugs machine, and then there's a little green one
yeah,
that shoots softballs.
yeah.
And it's weather checked and maybe came over on the Mayflower, but they still, there's still parts available for it, but just the parts to fix it are like $600. So I'm claiming it.
Well, I
So
think,
softball association.
Yeah.
okay, you fixed it, you're claiming it?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds fair to me.
Blue one's Little League, that works well.
But just so you know, a lot of that equipment out there, Tyler, years ago, when they switched administrations or boards, that Shane Phillips went out and bought a lot of pitching machines. There's traveling nets for batting practice that should be out there. There's a lot of equipment.
And you're saying out there where.
The
That shed in between the.
Yeah.
The shed at Bailey Complex.
ton of equipment that used to be in there, and that's all owned by the Little League.
I don't know if there is a ton of equipment in there.
There's a
Last time
net
I was in
and
there,
some stuff and,
Pitching machine and a bucket of balls and some hanger line
yeah.
and
Is there a lock on that
They
door?
cleaned it out last summer
It's a-
because there was a lot of crap in it.
Is it a
It was a mess.
combination or a key?
So I
It's
know
a
last
master,
summer
yeah,
the
it's a
city
key.
who
So
cleaned it
is it a
up.
66 lock?
He brought home a whole pile of
Because I know
batting helmets that
half the town of
the
Winter
softball
has a key to
association
it.
had left out there, so if anybody wanted to use the cage, they could, but most of it's broken and needs thrown out. So as far as what's in there for softball, there's not much, if anything.
It's yours.
Did you get the lock fixed on that? I thought so.
Anybody got anything else?
I'm informed that the notice for bids on the concession stand are out right now, and bids coming in for opening on the 18th. John, I'll check next week to make sure that you guys still are in for this year.
Okay,
I think you are, but we'll double check.
that's our understanding. We should tell them that.
18 March.
18 March.
Hope the weather's good.
Well, I guess if you guys, if that's everything, we'll wrap it up and let you get back to work and
Schedule as soon as you can.
Because I got her involved through text, she's quick to remind us of insurance forms on file at the city.
Yeah. And John, yours
I beat her to
expires
it.
June
Text her back,
2.
said Troy beat you to it.
In June, right?
June 2,
We'll have to have it,
yeah.
Kelly's on it, so. Is the policy on our invitational tournament still the same then, as far as you're gonna get them ready before the first game of the day, and then
Yeah, I don't, that's how it's, get ready what time?
be able to use the equipment with volunteers and coaches and stuff, so.
I guess if you got, we'd have to have that discussion, I guess, if, you know, if we're gonna use this new equipment.
I don't know about the new one, but that old one.
Well,
Yeah, the
keep
old
that-
one
we'll
will be
keep that
available,
dry.
yeah. Yeah, that 3-wheeler's fine.
That's quick between games.
Just what we've done in the past, just,
Yeah.
you said you had some summer help this year too, besides the Rusty, or you don't,
Yeah, that's
hopefully.
to be determined yet too.
Okay.
We actually have a lot of applicants this year for summer help. A lot of seasonal help, and then we have summer help. So seasonal help, those guys usually show up like May-ish, and then sometimes they work into the October, you know, depending upon the weather, and then we'll have our kids that just work during the school year. But yeah, we'll have a good number of summer help this year.
We just have a lot of interest already in those tournaments, so I'm expecting them to be team tournaments both weekends, and probably 10 games of late, over that weekend, 6 or 4, so get a lot of work. Just so we know, plan and get volunteers to cover everything else. Not me either.
We play, what?
I think it's traditional that the president of the association get the fields ready for spring ball, since the city has no help in the early spring, so.
Well, some of that's on Marty's got a budget and he's got to watch his bottom line. So when it comes to hours and kids and help and stuff like that, if we can help out, I guess a lot of that's up to council, how much, how much they want us to overspend or underspend, but we'll keep you informed.
Yeah, well, those tournaments they bring a lot of people and revenue into the town for the weekend, so.
Because I get in on the helping, because that's what we do. I think that I myself would have no issues helping the city out a little bit and creating some accountability amongst our crews and some parents. At the end of the night, there's no reason why we can't empty some garbages and take care of making sure that some things are picked up and cleaned up. We just did the AAU wrestling tournament, and every parent stayed after, swept the bleachers, took out the garbage, made sure that everything was put back together. I've emptied a lot of city garbage cans, and I don't have issue with it. I'm happy to help. However, there's no reason why we can't, amongst our groups, organize some parents to help with some of that. I mean, little accountability back on ourselves isn't gonna hurt anybody. However, I'm just gonna throw out, give me some garbage bags. So,
Well, yeah, we appreciate that. It's usually not a big deal. If it's a big tournament or something like that, we understand that garbages are gonna get full. They're gonna have to be taken out. We've worked with all the different organizations over the past and making sure that we know if it's gonna be a big tournament, we will have somebody there to get that kind of stuff done, and so we don't have trash flying all over and everything, but, yeah, just keep us.
I'm just saying that I think that I don't think it's too much to ask of us to put a little of that responsibility back on these groups to take care of the facilities as well. So, I mean, I don't have issue with that. I'm happy to delegate. So, if that's helpful at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because on Sunday mornings, that's Marty's job, is to dump the garbages before we go out.
So are you actually volunteering, or are you told you gotta do this anyways?
Volunteering to delegate.
I heard she's a delegator, that's what I heard, yeah.
I I know on the big dumpsters though, you know, the little cans, parents help, but sometimes we ran into issues where we needed two of the little dumpsters or a bigger dumpster up at Leahy on those weekend tournaments, because the big dumpster gets full and it's a mess, so.
Yeah.
Put it, so.
And if it's a big tournament, you just gotta let us know. I can,
Well, they're scheduled in advance.
but I can line up to get it dumped.
On Friday night or Friday.
But we get lost in the forest sometimes, they forget, and I can try to remind them, but a phone call just to say, we got that 16U tournament coming up in last year, we could put dumpsters all along there,
I think people are pretty decent. If you put them out, they'll use them.
yeah.
I'm not talking the little trash cans, I'm talking the big dumpsters.
No,
The
I-
big,
I
big
know,
6-yard
I know, but-
dumpster that's full, and then the tournament starts.
We've had
But
big-
But
yes,
now that you have city garbage, there really wouldn't be any reason why you couldn't spread out some of those big ones
Well,
and
that's-
set them back on.
yeah, that's what
on-
they're saying.
It's kind of the thinking with
And add some extra ones, is what I'm saying.
we bought those gray 300-gallon ones. They're portable. We can put them in the back of the pickup truck. One guy can roll them around. When they're full, you obviously can't, but we can still get in and grab them from, with the loader or backhoe or whatever. We can still move them around. They're pretty, and those are a lot easier to set around in different spots, so, yeah.
That'd probably help.
We got some flexibility now.
It'd just be those 2 weekends in June.
How often is that dumped? I don't know. The big one. Is it once a week?
The one up at Label?
Yeah.
It's
That's
one.
a 6-yarder. It's huge. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of garbage, but
Maybe once a week.
Actually, by state law, it has to be dumped at least once a week. So you can't let trash sit more than a week at a time. So
But, yeah, that's just an easy phone call to Kelly now, and he can,
All right, try to
Can you,
remind
when you put
Yeah,
out
well-
the bids for Bailey, either get them their own garbage can, because they like to just crush down all their boxes and put them in the trash can right outside of, and then people can't use it, because they've filled it already. So make that part of the contract, that take your own garbage out.
one of our biggest challenges down at that field with garbage is that when we set out dumpsters down there, the general public use them. And so when they know it's there, they'll just go use it. So that's just kind of something that we need to have better communication on. And Marty and I'll, you gotta go, if you're gonna have a Saturday tournament, we need to go down there and make sure those dumpsters haven't been filled up by the public, so that, an hour into your
I'm with you.
event.
I don't mean the dumpster. I mean, I know what you're angling at. You're right. But I'm talking about the actual garbage can
Those
right
get-
outside the door.
Those get filled up too. Everything down there does.
but.
If we leave anything
But the
set out,
concession stand people put their boxes in there
oh yeah.
rather than take them to the dumpster, so then they're full to start the.
Yeah, before people even show up, that garbage can is full.
Got you. Yeah, this is good conversation, so we, keeps it fresh in our heads so we know what to look for when ball season starts.
Make your kids take it to.
Good idea to make that trash removal part of the contract, though. Make them put them in the large dumpsters instead of the,
Actually, we did
That's
have a
part of-
contract for the concession stands and
That's
it-
part of the contract.
It does say that
Oh,
the
yeah.
concession stand garbage is part of that, and they're actually supposed to go around to all the individual cans. Anything that's got a bag in it, just a regular 40-gallon trash can with a bag in it, that's actually part of the
Contract.
concession stand contract, and they're
and they're supposed
responsible
to
for dumping.
maintain them?
Yeah.
Yes, and we got told to pound sand.
There's a
Sounds
lot
like
of-
we need an enforcer rather than a delegator.
Kick rocks, is that what happened?
Pound rock.
Maybe that's,
I would also like to outlaw Laffy Taffy and gummy cheeseburgers, so.
That's a good idea.
The summer help hate those.
some of them bags gets
Yeah.
pretty heavy.
The little
Oh,
gummy cheeseburgers and them wrappers are all over.
Is it a decent idea to put our totes out there instead of a 40-gallon trash can, or not?
we can't get in there to
Can't
get
get in there.
them, to get them emptied.
How about the
But they're
90s
on
on the
wheels.
wheels? 90-gallon. The 90-gallon, or
Oh.
60s.
Oh, you mean our
Like I have at my house.
residential? Yeah, we use those a lot.
Yeah.
And I've got bags for those too.
Because then you'd be more likely to get them dumped on a regular basis if they were in those totes. Instead of a bag I gotta take out of the trash
I
can.
can't use that out of there. Your volunteer help just quit.
Yeah, they can get pretty heavy.
I'm not tough, I'm just not, I
It's,
can't do it.
Get to work.
All right.
Gentlemen, thank you.
See you guys, thanks.
Thanks for coming in.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Ladies, thank you.
Tell your kid to cut his hair. Anything else?
No, I've got nothing, unless Marty, you've got anything else that you want council to be aware of?
No, I don't think so.
How's the Ventrac?
A couple weeks out.
Couple weeks out.
He said a couple weeks early this week on Monday, so.
If you want to use that, as a test, we've got a spot down there that's a drainage ditch over at Golden Prairie. It's cattails.
Oh, well, we know they work in there.
Okay. I would just.
They're good in the
If you
bottom of the
needed
ditches,
practice driving it, yeah.
but they're not amphibious either. Trevor learned that.
They're not amphibious.
They're not amphibious. They can get in some
You
deep
can't get it
stuff,
stuck.
You
but they
can't
can't
get
get
stuck. They showed us that first time it ran
I've
through
had
the
to pull
water.
my lawnmower out with my pickup,
Yeah.
trying to mow them stupid cattails. You think, you're driving along and you're on top of all the grass, and all of a sudden you just fall in, done. Get your feet wet, get in the pickup.
Yeah, there's more wheels on these, but it's just more wheels that get stuck. But it's been really good.
It can do some nasty stuff.
And it's crazy how much more that mower can do
Well,
than,
that ditch coming into town looks so wonderful since we got that machine.
yeah.
I mean, you only get one chance for that first impression of what winter looks like, and it used to be a weed patch. Now at least it's a water patch.
Yeah.
The other thing is on 44, which we're also responsible for, is, the reason one of the major reasons that we ordered that machine is we're mowing those inclines like that.
Yep,
Most motors aren't made for that. They don't have baffles in them, so the oil all runs to one side. And when you consistently mow on an incline like that, it'll just burn your mower up. It'll burn your motor up because all the oil's on one side of the motor.
yep.
And so these mowers have baffles in the engine, so it keeps the oil distributed even when you're on an incline like that. So, the one that Jimmy Padmore drives around all the time, we had to replace the motor on that a couple different times over the years because he's just burning up the motor. So now 44 is even steeper.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's really a steep ditch now, and absolutely won't be able to get in there with our traditional mowers now at all. They'll just slide right down the hill. So,
So we're
Have you
gonna,
talked to the county about the possibility of using their ditch mower? They have one on an arm that's on a tractor.
I haven't
don't
seen them
know if
use that
would
for,
be
I've
That
seen it
sickle
sitting there.
Yeah,
No, it's
I
a
don't know if-
rotary.
It's not a sickle, it's a rotary motor that's on an arm,
yeah.
and you could just hover that right over top that wet ditch, drive right down and mow it at the level of the
Ventrac
water.
does make a sickle mower like that. I don't know how far it reaches out.
Just like that hovers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's on an arm and it'll
It's on
reach
an
out.
arm, like
Yeah.
a bucket truck.
But Ventrac does make
And I
one.
think that's the county that has it, I don't think it's the states.
Yeah, it's in their
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah.
The only problem is it's, you gotta put it on a tractor. Like,
Yep,
But
it's
if-
gotta go on a tractor,
and
yep.
so then you're,
But he's saying Ventrac has one.
yes.
Why don't we get a price on that?
are we
Well, the
gonna,
other thing it saves you is you can mow where the reeds are
In the
are
water.
growing out of the water, you
Right.
can mow right at the water level.
Yeah,
Well, we're
Yeah.
hoping that we'll dry that ditch up this spring when we replace some water mains over on that side
Oh,
of
and we
town.
used to have Schmuckers, they told me that would never be dry, that ditch will always have water in it. He said it'll never be dry.
Well,
Because I asked him how many years before that'll dry out, now that we have the slope right, and he says it'll never be dry. We have that much runoff.
I'm fairly certain that we have a decent sized water leak on A Street right behind Super Duper.
Okay,
And that's on our list this year to replace that piece of water main. I know it's leaking because it's leaking into the basement of Super Duper, and Super Duper has a sump pump that pumps into the storm sewer, and year-round, you can hear it running into
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
storm, you can hear it running in the storm sewer. And when we relined the sewer main between the service road and the highway, we had a hole in our sewer pipe, and we were cameraing it, and the water was just running in there. So it's high priority this year to get that piece of water main. I don't think it's the main that's leaking. I actually think that there's an old water service that's buried on the north side of A Street, and that water service is what's leaking.
Yep.
But we gotta get that fixed this year, because that's a major contributor, because dead of the winter this year.
Yeah.
And
standing water.
there was
all
standing
day.
water on top of the ice.
Yep.
It's coming from
Down
somewhere.
that ditch?
Yeah.
Really?
So we need to find
We,
that.
years ago, 20 years ago, when I worked for Stan Bisick, by the Kaiser's house there, we put drain tile in there, and it pumped water all year long.
Violet Kaiser, is that the one that, what's her name? Cheryl lives in now? Is that the same
No,
house?
no,
Okay.
no, it's up there on, what street is that? By Rizzu's,
Right,
yeah.
just by Brian Schaefer, just up from
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but there's water in those basements all the time. They're pumping water all the time.
That's from the pool.
No, that's a long way away. That's a long way away.
Well, Keach on Truman Street, right next to Ingles on the corner, Keach has the old Garnet Sargent house. He ended up having Blackburn come in, and they cut in the middle of his basement, put a drain tile in to control the water from coming in the house.
There's places all over winter that, just
Yeah.
since I've been here, I've only been here 6 years, 7 years. I know way up there on 14th Street, Eric Pollard,
Yeah.
up in that area.
We can't
Just in
figure
the
that-
last 3-4 years, they've had to put in some pumps, because the ground opened up and a spring came up, and we had our water mains tested, and nothing's leaking, everything pressure tested fine. There's several areas in town where water's just showing up all of a sudden. And one of the worst areas used to be right over here by the PD. I mean,
Yep.
there was people over there that,
By
Cameras
the
live,
phone
no
office,
names.
by the phone, telephone company. That used to be the watering hole when winter was first started. People parked their horses there because that was always wet. That's what I'm told.
well, there's
By the Christian church.
a 6-inch pipe right on the south side of that church that has a cap on it. And if you pull that cap off and look down that pipe, that's the water